cold and wet this morning. Wouldn't be so bad, but my car doesn't have any heat. And so I want to take you guys along on a story time. Okay, so I had to abort the plan of shooting the video on my drive over here. It's cold, it's wet, it's rainy, it was noisy in the car, and so the video footage just didn't come out the way that I anticipated. But this is the reason why I left my career in software engineering. You ready? To become a pastor. I worked in IT for over 15 years. Jobs ranging from technical architect to software engineer, database administrator, web administrator, Q&A engineer, Q&A test automation engineer. And so I ran into a lot of different technologies, a lot of different frameworks, a lot of different languages. And so I loved working in IT, but it wasn't what God had for me long term. You see, I realized while I was working in IT, that God wanted me to lead in the church. I joined the church, and initially I showed up and I didn't want to let everybody know that I was ordained minister and I was a youth pastor before any of that. So I just showed up. They had 3 services. Actually, they had 4 services at the time. I showed up at the 9:30 service, I think it was, and went to church, clapped my hands, sang the songs, and it wasn't long after I had landed at that particular ministry that I ended up on the teaching team, involved in youth again. I was leading a youth small group. My wife was involved with the children's church. My kids were getting involved, and we went on a mission trip. And so we had gotten plugged in, and we had made some new friends there. And shortly thereafter, the senior pastor tapped me on the shoulder to become a campus pastor of one of the campuses that they were launching out. And the rest is history. Shortly thereafter, the church that I was the campus pastor of became an independent church. And we've been an independent church for about 5 years. Listen, if you want more of that testimony and more of the details of that story, leave a comment, and I'm more than happy and willing to share more about that. But the reason for this video today is talking about the power of moments. When I left my safe, secure job as an IT professional, a software engineer, I was making decent money. It was a pretty secure job in a career field and in a city where there's always work. And so it was relatively safe for me to stay doing those things. But, you know, God had a different adventure for me, and he is teaching me about the power of moments, and in particular moments in time, how he can shift your trajectory onto something new. Now, do I still love dabbling with programming? Yes. Do I still love to hack away at people's websites when they need help and things of that nature? Yes. I don't have a lot of time for it, but it's still a passion of mine. I'm still technologically capable. And actually, I write a lot of scripts on my Mac and to help me do my job a little bit easier. And so if that's something that you guys want to learn about on this channel, some of the stuff that I do to make my life more easy, and some of the stuff that I do to stay technologically relevant. I've written scripts for Evernote. I've written scripts for Google Apps, integrated a lot of my daily activities into some pretty cool little scripts that I write, because I do that from time to time just to relieve myself from. I'm a full-time student right now, as well as my career as a pastor. And so I write a lot of papers, read a lot. I go to a school online and I take condensed classes. And so instead of the 16-week courses, they're 8-week courses condensed. And I take 2 of those at a time. And so I stay busy. And so the irony is I used to be an IT guy. And in my spare time, I prepared sermons and I led small groups and things of that nature. And now I am full-time pastor and I still lead small groups and things of that nature, prepare sermons and stuff. And so in my free time, I write code. And so my life just did this kind of anyway, talking about the power of moments. So God allows moments to happen in our lives, and we have to learn how to capitalize on those moments. You see, while IT was my vocation, I didn't realize that lead pastoring would be my calling until I stepped into it, until I walked through the door and the opportunities that were before me. I never imagined in a million years that I would be a lead pastor. I could see myself as a youth pastor. I could see myself as a guy who owned a business and who was just a Christian and ran small groups. But lead pastor, that was just something that wasn't on my radar. And to be perfectly honest, it wasn't something that was a real strong desire for me to do. Don't get me wrong. I love talking to people. I love working with people. I love reading scripture. I love preparing sermons. But I had this baggage in my head about what a lead pastor was and what a lead pastor should be. And God had to burst my paradigm. God had to allow me to have moments where I felt uneasy. He had to allow me to have moments where I felt like I wasn't measuring up. He had to allow me to have all these moments, and he had to teach me to trust him and say yes in those moments. You see, the power of moments is not that we don't have these moments that can be life-altering, life-changing, life-shifting, and God ultimately can get a blessing in. The power of the moment is created when we're obedient to the will of God and we say, yes, Lord. And so that's why I left my job as an IT guy to become a lead pastor. I was a bit and am a bit of a reluctant leader sometimes. Sometimes I'm challenged. People might not know this or even realize this about me. I'm a bit of an introvert. I would love to be alone with me and my laptop doing meaningful work. But I feel called and compelled to live outside of that because God has called me and gifted me with the ability to reach and touch people's lives. And so that's where I'm at right now. This video was really rambly. And like I said, probably no one will ever listen to it. And so I'll be doing some more of this, just turning on my camera and talking to it. And hopefully I'll grow and get better as time goes on. So again, please subscribe, leave some comments down below, and I'll talk to you soon. It's funny, in the new year, I said I will create more video content because I'm not very good at communicating when someone sticks a camera in my face, even if it's me sticking a camera in my face. And that might come to a surprise to a lot of people because I actually communicate for a living. But to put a camera in my face and the pressure of saying something really challenges me. And so I'm really challenging myself in 2019 to create more content around just my day-to-day life, scripture, encouragement. And so if you want to hear more about that, and if you want to learn more about anything, write some comments in the description and I'll try to create some video content to surround that. And so back to the power of moments. This is a moment in time where I'm making a decision to take content creation seriously. And we'll see what comes of it. I hope you guys like it. If you do, leave a like, share, subscribe, and we out.